guys, your boy Xarcotix here, bringing you another commentary slash tutorial, another video for you guys, kind of talking about how to be proficient and efficient with the Scout class, how to take your game to the next level, talk about all the tips and tricks that I will teach you so you can get to the next level. Talking about a few things here: basic, intermediate, and advanced techniques to be a effective scout on the battlefield. So we're going to start with the super basic stuff, which is settings. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Vehicle stick sensitivity, I have it set to 70. I think standard is 20 as well. I don't play in vehicles very much, so that doesn't really affect me that much. Soldier zoom sensitivity. Now this right here is what affects your ADS, your aim down sight sensitivity. I think it's standard set to 100. I've moved it down to 60, and I will show you why in a second. Soldier sprint is press. I think that's standard. Double tap forward to sprint. That is currently, it's off standard, and I turn it back on. So you double tap forward to sprint on your left stick if you're playing PS4 or Xbox. Now, steady scope, vehicle weapon zoom, and soldier weapon zoom. I have these all to hold because I hate toggling. Pressing makes it so you toggle these things, and I don't like that personally. So I like to hold it. That way I have full control of my sticks. Now, control schemes, I have set when it's default. The only thing you're going to see different here is if you look down at the bottom right part of the screen, you're going to see melee attack is set to R3, or if it's on PlayStation, it's also R3, and then B or circle on PlayStation is set to crouch. I set that. I flipped that. The reason being is because when you're able to run and crouch, you actually perform a slide, and it allows for more control for you to go prone, and you don't have to worry about if you go prone that you can get shot to the side. You have to take your thumb off the crouch button to then move it over to your aiming button. So you don't want that. You don't want to have to go from a toggle for crouching and then have to move it to a stick that you have to use to aim. That's too much motion, and that's enough for you to get killed. So I've set mine to alternate. Advanced settings. Now these right here are very specific to each person. You can use mine if you'd like to, but these are the ones that I'm used to, so it may not be best suited for you. So stick dead zone, I've set to 10%. That actually is set to 22% at standard. 22% dead zone means how much you need to push your stick for it to make an effect, for actually the controller to recognize it and then send that signal to your Xbox or PlayStation. Now I have mine set to 10%. 1% I actually think is too sensitive, because you don't get any little movement will cause the stick to move, and sometimes that can throw off your aim, especially for sniping. So 10% for me has worked out just fine, and the rest of these you guys can take a pause and look at some of these sensitivities if you do want to copy mine. So these are, I don't really use much of these other scopes. 5, 6, 3, 2, 5. Like, I don't really use it. Two times is what I definitely use for my ADS, for my pistols, and for my iron sight rifles. But everything else, 3.5 and 4 I'll use for scopes, and then 8 and 10x I'll use for scopes. So you guys want to pause at this point to copy this down, you can. Other than that, I'm going to keep moving on. So other than that, biggest thing that you want to take a look at is I have uniform soldier aiming off. Turn that off. Reason you don't want that on, personally, for me, like I said, I like to customize my aim. Every weapon needs to be different for me. Every type of sight needs to be different. So I have that off instead of it being a standard aim. And coefficient I have set to 0. What this basically does is if the uniform soldier aiming is enabled for whatever reason, this basically makes it so it's not. And I changed it to 0 with Battlefield 4. I think I had it on, and I think that made a difference. So I turned it off in this game and I set to 0 just in case for whatever reason it gets toggled back on. So okay, cool. So that's done. Gameplay. Now let's go over some of the things. For basic HUD information, I have HUD on, of course. Crosshair visibility is set to 100. Crosshair colors are white. That's all standard. Now the biggest thing that I changed was the hit indicator. Now this is extremely important. Let me tell you why it's very important. The hit color, your ability to read and see that you've killed the target takes too much time rather than seeing the hit marker. So let me explain what I mean. Let's say there's 3 targets in front of you, okay? and they're all spread apart evenly. Let's just say left to right, right to left, does not matter. Let's say you start shooting at the first one. Well, if your hit markers are all the same color, you will have to wait till you hear the audio confirmation or read the text to make sure that the player is killed. Now, the reason you don't want that is because you want to know that, hey, that person's dead. Now, in Battlefield 4, there was, to my recollection, there was no audio confirmation that the person was dead. All you saw was after they died, you got a little bit of a delay, and then they came up with a text saying enemy killed. In this game, thankfully, they put an audio confirmation that the person was either headshotted or shot to the chest, and you even get hit marker sounds. But I have my hit color to green, my headshot color to orange, and then kill color to red. Red, when I see red, I know I can continue progressing through my targets and keep moving on without having to worry about it. And the damage-based shape means if you get the headshot, it's going to make it a little bit more broader hit marker to let you know. Other than that, these are really big for minimap. I've set my flight zoom radius. Anybody that's in the air, I would set this much higher instead of having a lower setting. I don't fly much, nor do I get in vehicles much, so I just set those up because I know, hey, if I ever hop in a vehicle, I want to be able to see on the mini-map people around me. Now, two biggest things that you need to make sure are on. Oops. Let's go back down there. Okay, right here. Minimap size needs to be to higher than 100%. I have set mine to 150 with the on-foot zoom radius of 225. So what happens is the map, if you look at my screen, I don't know if it's actually up because the game hasn't started. No, it's not. Okay, so the map is much larger on my screen. The typical map, it takes up, I would say, probably about 10%, maybe a little bit less of your screen. I've increased that to about 18 to 20% to give me more visibility, and then the zoom allows me to see further out. Okay, other than that, video. So field of view, I currently have mine set to 75. This is really down to personal preference, whatever you like there, you know, whether you want standard at 55 or all the way up, which I think is 105 or 110. Motion blur to 0, and then ADS field of view to off, and also weapon depth of field I turned that off as well. The reason you want these all off is because it causes, when you render and or use a sniper, the depth of field is not set back to standard, which makes it harder to aim. At least I have found it harder to aim. Motion blur off as well because I don't want any sort of motion blur. It adds a little bit more, takes a little more taxing on the resources of your Xbox or your PlayStation. I have that set off to 0, and then weapon depth of field. So when I'm ADS, I don't want that extra depth of field effect. Now, obviously, it does look cool, but I don't want that because I want to be able to see targets outside of my peripheral. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into the next segment. Also, guys, make sure when you're going through your settings, and the last thing I'm going to talk about is gameplay advance, guys. Gameplay advance is very important. Make sure you check this because some of these things are going to be on. What I would recommend for sniping in general, just have, anytime someone snipes, turn off all aim assist auto rotation and slowdown. These will be default on. Turn these both off. If you do not, your shots will be off. When targets get in front of your scope, what these do is they allow the target to draw your scope towards the target. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say you got 2 targets, and one target you're perfectly scoped over, and the second target goes in front of the target that you were already aiming on or trying to aim on. That target that runs in front will pull your scope and make you draw off the target you were originally shooting at, causing you to possibly get killed by the target you were already engaging, and versus the one who's running past and not paying attention to you. So turn off both auto rotation and slowdown because it gives you a full control of your scope, full control of your sniper, and you won't have to worry about that, as well as it's much easier to hit multiple targets in a row or multiple targets simultaneously as well, because there's none of that going on. Alright guys, let's go and talk about choosing a weapon. Now the cool thing is there's so many weapons that we get to choose from in Battlefield 1 so far. We're going to be getting more in the future with the next DLCs. Now let me talk about the sniper rifles that I personally like, but I'm going to go through them objectively and what they're useful for. The biggest ones is I'm not going to use anything that I don't I'm not going to talk about anything that I don't personally use and have a good review about, because if I haven't used it, I can't give you a fair review on the weapon and how I would use it. Now let's go to the Russian 1895 sniper. Can't talk today. 1895 sniper. This sniper is really good for medium to closer range engagements. Bullet velocity is pretty good. I would say I think it's about 750. Now with the 1895 sniper, you're going to want to engage targets from 60 meters and further. 60 to 100 meters is the sweet spot. Very nice sweet spot to play a little bit closer to the objective. And it has a 5-round mag, which isn't the greatest, but it does fire pretty quick. 56 rounds per minute. Fastest of the bolt action snipers that have a long range scope. So with that, the infantry. Now this is the iron sight variant, also very good. I like this weapon as well. Definitely more for your runner gunners, people that have to play up close. Just like the sniper, except it's unscoped. It does not have an optic. Now, a couple of these weapons, the Gewehr 19, or it was the 1898, but it is the Gewehr 98 in the game. Marksman is one of my favorite weapons. I love this weapon. The reason you want to use a marksman scope over a sniper scope, and I'll give you pros and cons for both. Marksman scope doesn't give you glint. Only thing is the marksman scope does give you kind of a different ADS feel. The Gewehr 98 sniper, my personal favorite as of now. I like the Gewehr 98 sniper because you can use 8 times optics. So I personally have mine set to 8. You can do 5, 6, or 8 or 10. I personally like 8 times because back in Battlefield 4, that was the magnification I used primarily on all my rifles. So 8 times scope on the Gewehr 98, very nice. Oops. This weapon is a 80 to 120 meter one-shot kill to the upper chest. So the sweet spot in the upper T-zone, which is between the shoulder blades and above the stomach area, is going to be a one-shot kill at 80 to 120 meters. Really nice weapon to engage targets, especially when you're playing operations or conquest. When you're heading towards a flank, you're able to play more support role for your team, so you can pick off a few targets and take out your targets before your teammates or squad get there. Now, one of the biggest things that the Gewehr 98 has over any other weapon in the game, it has the fastest bullet velocity at 880 meters per second. Very good sniper to use, and I personally like it. It's my favorite. Infantry variant, iron sight variant of the sniper, so it's non-optic. Same rules apply. 5-round mag, 50 rounds per minute. Still has a fast bullet velocity. Very great for close quarters. You will want to have a good sidearm. We'll get into those next. Now, the SMLE, the short magazine linear unfold Mark III, one of the best weapons of World War I. This one and the Gewehr 98 were some of the most highly used. Now, the Mark III marksman comes with the marksman scope that I showed you from the. So the SMLE Mark III marksman, a great weapon, has the marksman scope. Once again, the marksman scopes have between a 2.5 and a 4x optic. So what that means is it's a little bit shorter, kind of like your ACOG scopes from Battlefield 4. So it's a little bit closer range, but still a good sight to even take off targets outside of 100 meters. Great rifle. Now, the thing that the rifle has over a lot of the other rifles is its 10-round mag, which makes it favorable for aggressive sniping. So if you like to play a little bit more aggressive, this may be the sniper of choice. And one thing that is really nice about it has a 40-meter to a 75-meter sweet spot. So it's a little bit shorter range than some of the other rifles that have a 40-meter sweet spot. This one's only 35, but it still has a 10-round mag. So you're giving up that extra 5 meters for an extra 5 bullets, which does come in handy in close quarters. Carbine and infantry variants, these are basically it has a sight on it, so a rear sight, and then a front sight to kind of help with pinpointing, kind of like a red dot sight or a holographic sight back from Battlefield 4. And then your infantry variant is the iron sights variant. Now, if you notice, the carbine's actually shorter. Doesn't really make a difference, but the only thing is your hip fire goes down when you go down to the infantry, but the carbine has a better hip fire. Gewehr 95, great gun, has the fastest rechamber speed, rounds per minute at 67, and also has a pole bolt. So one of the first pole bolt rifles of the World War I era. Cool thing is you can base the ADS and fire off shots without leaving your scope and continue to track your target. And one of the reasons why I like the marksman, and I have a great amount of kills with, I think about or 36 service stars. Yeah, 36 service stars with this gun. Great weapon. I like it. It's a fun weapon to use. The only thing that you lose with it is the bullet velocity. So you're giving up bullet velocity for a higher damage drop. So it maintains higher damage over distance, as well as you get the fast bullet rechamber speed. M1903. Now this gun, I personally don't use a ton, but it is a effective weapon. The reason it's effective is it hits hard. It's meant for the longer range engagements, 100 to 150 meters. Now the only challenge with the M1903 is that the hitboxes are much smaller in Battlefield 1 than they were in Battlefield 4. So what that makes for is a more challenging one shot to the upper T-zone, since the hitboxes are much smaller. So the marksman variant, just like others, 2.5 to 4x, and then the sniper, which is a 5 to 10x scope, also comes with a bipod. Martini Henry used to be one of the best guns in the game. Some would say it was even overpowered, but now it is, since it's been nerfed, not used as highly or as widely as it used to be. I have about 32 service stars with this. I like this weapon. It was really good for close quarters, for getting those one shots between 30 and 80 meters. So you had a 50 meter sweet spot range, which was really nice. But now, since they've nerfed it, it has the same hitboxes as all the other snipers. Isn't as effective, but still does the one hit kill between 30 and 80 meters if you can hit that upper T-zone shot. So great. And then Lawrence of Arabia SM Elite is just like the SM Elite Infantry. However, it just is a little bit blinged out with some gold and the engravings on the side. Now, sidearms. What we're going to go over the sidearms here, make it really quick. The two that I prefer to use is the Farmer Stop and the Mars Automatic. I'll tell you why. Farmer Stop is kind of like your G17 or G18 of Battlefield 4 or Battlefield Hardline. You can fire really quick. You can spam the trigger, and it allows you to pop off all 8 rounds very quickly. It does enough damage to kill, I would say, about 2 people per mag, unless they're lined up, and obviously you can kill more. But it is more for a spammy kind of quick response weapon. If you're getting shot and you miss a shot, or you hit a shot and you need to switch to your sidearm and just pop off a few shots without ADSing with your pistol, gets off those shots really quick. Now the Mars Automatic is the other favorite of mine, my personal favorite, one that I use mostly. This gun is like the Desert Eagle of Battlefield 1. At one point it was the most powerful handgun in the world, and it is a hammer. You use this gun, it does a 3-shot kill if you hit upper chest. Headshot, I think, is a 2-shot, so it is a straight beast of a weapon. If you hit with a sniper rifle with a 80 hit, let's say upper T-zone, inside or outside the sweet spot zone, you'll get a 1-shot with the Mars Automatic as long as you hit them in the upper chest. Other than that, guys, the two gadgets that I personally use and have used are the 2 default ones, which is the flare gun spot and the K bullets, and I find these the 2 most effective. Don't see any need for most of the other stuff. I don't really use any of the other things on here. Flash, the transparent periscope, sniper shield. Don't you ever let me catch you using a sniper shield if you play with me. What a sniper shield does is it makes you a sitting duck, number 1, a stationary target, number 2, and number 3, it only exposes your head. So if someone is smart enough to hit you in that window, they're going to get a headshot, I would say 8 out of 10 times. A couple other times you'll hit you in your neck or your shoulder, depending on the angle, but most of the time you're going to get headshots. So if you're playing with me or learning from this tutorial, do not use the sniper shields. Trench periscope makes you a huge target. The trench periscope, what it does is it gives you the same scope glint as the longer range optics. However, it gives you two glints instead of just one, so it makes it much easier for you to spot. And I would not recommend using it. And then these are tripwire bombs. These are kind of like your claymores from Battlefield 4, and they are tripwire bombs. Essentially, it's exactly what it says it is. So if a target or an enemy runs past, it's either going to have a heavy explosive, a gas, or incendiary. So other than that, the melee weapon is up to choice. There's so many to choose from. I don't know why I don't have Sawtooth enabled. There we go, Sawtooth. And all these weapons you can just choose from based off preference. They all kill differently, and I personally like either the Sawtooth or the Hatchet, just the animations. So other than that, let's go ahead and get into the sniping. Alright guys, so what we're going to do is I'm going to do some basic things. we're going to talk about basic scoping and centering your screen, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a target on this one. So I'm going to draw. Okay, that's our target. Now I'll draw one a little bit further up. Perfect. Okay, so we have a target. Basic scoping, okay? It's the most simplest form of sniping ever. What we want to do is focus on centering your target over one of these dots. So you can choose any dot. Let's choose the top one because that's the one I'm. So the center of my screen is always focused towards the dot. What I'm doing is I'm strafing side to side and trying to keep that top dot in the center of my screen. So when I ADS, I don't have to move my scope very, very far. See how I'm pretty close to it? Trying to center. Pretty close to it. That was almost spot on. Almost spot on. So what I'm trying to do, like I'm showing here, is how to center your screen. What I would recommend doing is just going from side to side and then going kind of like in an arc and keeping your screen centered over the dot, so that way you can be extremely close to it when you scope. Now, keep practicing that, and then what you want to do is focus on, if this is a target, moving your crosshairs directly over the center. Always focusing on going to the center. Now I'm going to go ahead and ADS off target and move it to the center of that target right there, the little dot on the screen, the little dot on the barn. And just do this slowly. Get used to lining that up. If this is the middle of a headshot or a T-zone of the enemy, you want to be able to get there as fast as possible. And then you want to get faster. 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 And faster. Okay? Very simple. Very simple concept. This is basic scoping, right? Bare minimum basics to continue to get faster at scoping in on your target and centering over the target the way you need it to be. So I'm going to show, after we get all the basic stuff done, then I'm going to talk about intermediate stuff, but as well as show you some gameplay of all these in action. Okay, perfect. Alright, so with basic scoping, you want to give yourself some extra range, so continue to practice by moving around a little bit further than I was supposed to. Moving around the map and working on centering your target over it. Multiple angles, give yourself some distance. Continue to aim over it. Even give yourself some obstacles like this ledge. Run up to it, be able to aim over that. That's basic scoping right there. Perfect. Awesome. Alright guys, so when we do quick scoping, quick little tip, I almost forgot. When you are quick scoping, make sure you stand still when you do it. So for example, let's say you're going side to side and there's a target a little bit further away or even close up. When you go to fire, make sure you take your thumb off the left stick to stop your movement, then zoom in, then fire. Right? Now it's obviously not that slow, right? But it is a way to make your bullet go straight. So the way it would look more like, it's more like this. A little bit more organic. Okay? So I'm always stopping to take the shot. So I'm literally, as soon, and the way to do it is almost like you're, if you can imagine looking at your controller, whatever you use the ADS, you basically rock your thumb off the stick and move your index finger to the left trigger to ADS, and as soon as you do that, it's like you're rocking your controller forward, or you're rocking your hand forward to ADS your scope and not move your stick. So basically how I do it is, as soon as I hold down the left trigger, my left thumb comes off my controller so I cannot move, and it allows me to have as much accuracy as possible. So the way we do it, like this, stop, split second, fire, and then as soon as you fire, move. You can move as soon as you fire, but if you move while firing, it causes bullet deviation. Strafe Shots a little bit more challenging. Reason being is kind of what we talked about in Quickscoping. When you move, if you move while firing, it causes bullet deviation. So what we want to show you is how you can still strafe while ADS down your scope and still hit 100% accuracy. So what we're going to do is I'm going to create another mark on the wall. Perfect. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to strafe and learn how to keep your scope over the target while strafing. Alright, perfect. Crosshairs are looking good. I kind of want to deviate a little bit. Perfect. That's what you want to do. So since when you strafe aim down sights, you move quicker, and as soon as you aim down sights, you're much slower, much easier target to hit. So I'd recommend, if you're fighting off a sniper in the distance, don't aim down sights unless you know for a fact that you're going to have the better shot on them. Otherwise, good chances they're going to get you because you're moving much slower and much easier to hit at that point. So here's this. Now, this would be best used. Let me show you. Let's run over here. Actually, I had that back. The reason why strafe scoping from right to left is more effective than left to right is the way the scope is oriented on the rifle. So since it's on the left side, it's much easier to not expose as much body on your shot when you go to fire, because the scope's on the left side. If you're over here, for me to get the full scope over, all the way down to my left knee is exposed. If I'm over here, for me to get a shot off, just the very, actually this is not even a good representation. Let me actually show you real quick. Right here, half of my body is not exposed, okay? Unlike over here, my entire body is exposed for the scope to be ready to go. So it's not as good to strafe scope when you're coming from a left-hand side to the right than from a right-hand side to the left. So one thing you guys have to recognize is you're more exposed when you go this direction from you're trying to shoot off a building to the right than if you are to the left, because you don't have to expose as much of your body. So pro little tip there. But when you strafe shot, the way you want to do it is as soon as you see the target, fire. Okay, as soon as you see the target, fire. But you need to stop as soon as you go to fire. You need to stop for a second. Take your thumb off the stick. Fire. Oop, I hit the camera. That was a little too close. I want to use the linear mechanic.
The men need orders.
Lost objective contact. Active apples.
Alright guys, now I want to talk about drag shots. These are needed when playing with any sort of optic weapon and you're off target and you need to move the scope over your target as fast as you possibly can. And I'll be, like I said, once again showing you some in-game footage of what this looks like. Now, so what ends up happening lots of times, especially when you play a bit more aggressive with the scout, is you get put in positions where you're not looking the correct direction and there's a target. Let's say you're looking this direction but your target's on your left. And so what you end up doing is you're looking typically on your peripheral or 45, and the target is moving in either, you know, diagonal to you, perpendicular to you, completely away from you, and you see a target and you want to be able to drag scope them when they're a little bit closer. So this is more of a, you got to be quick to do this, but as well as even if they're further away, let's say they're about 100 to 200 meters away, to be able to drag over the target. And this goes in conjunction with learning how to center your screen or center your crosshair over the target's head. So what we want to practice is going from back and forth over this target, back and forth. All right, and then you want to fire. So right, I fired right over it. So you want to keep working on that, back and forth. And then just get faster and faster when you go left and right. See how close you can get to the center of this target. So you just want to go slow at first. Slow first. Slow at first. What this is teaching you is you're going to get yourself muscle memory on when you see a target. Learn how to center it over. Okay? And you can even start, you can go diagonal to it. So you can go like this. So what you want to do is just get faster and faster so you can center over the target almost every time you press it hard, press it quickly. See how, I mean, I'm getting pretty dang close to the center of that target. If you were to slow this down, I'm almost always over it. Now, be able to do it from the other side. Warm it up. Warm it up. And you get faster. And you get faster. And you get faster until you can go quickly back and forth. This trains your body, trains your muscles in your fingers to always center over the target as fast as you can. Okay. Quicker. Getting quick to the center of that target. Back and forth. So what I'm doing is I'm centering my target as fast as possible. And that's utilizing the form of drag scoping and scoping. Get that target as black as possible. No, to get that target as dark as possible because I'm shooting the same spot. Okay? Drag scoping, that's what you need to do. Practice slow, and then you can get a little bit further away.
Return to the combat area.
TDM. Go a little bit further, and then keep working on going faster and faster until you continue to hit the center spot. Perfect. When you're near some cover, what you're gonna utilize that cover to still hit the target, but utilize your cover to give yourself another chance. Let's say you're getting shot at. Suppression, for example, is very strong in this game, and you're gonna utilize that cover to basically fend off the suppression and give yourself a chance to shoot back without being suppressed. And the only way you're able to do that is if you utilize your cover. So, for example, what a snapshot would be something like this. Okay. Right there. Pop up. Take your target. Pop up. Take your target. Now, let's actually find a better spot because you want to be able to use. There we go. A little better. No. Move! Oh, here we go. We're going to use this barrel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot this wall over here. Perfect. Say that's the target. Okay? So we're going to use a snapshot effect or snapshot tactic. What you do is you pop up. Fire a shot. Okay, you're behind cover. Turn your screen. Fire. Screen, fire, and then drop back down after you fire. Makes you a harder target to hit. Now, obviously, this is light cover, so you can just shoot to that. But let me give you an example. Let's say you're a wall. You have a wall right here. Hop over that, or a rock, or some sandbags. This is sandbags right here. So you can pop over that, right? And even since this Battlefield has a peek over mechanic, you can peek over it, unpeek over it. These are all ways to snapshot right here. Okay, so you peek over targets, or peek over the cover, and you're able to center your screen over the target and take a shot and kill them. Okay. Perfect. So that's Snapshot, and I'll show you what that looks like in game. All right, guys. One of the other things that with quickscoping, that you have to do is what's called a pop shot. Now, this is the most skillful version of quickscoping. The reason it is because basically what it means is you have centered your screen over the target. So let's say you've done all this, right? And instead of having to drag your scope over the target, you have centered over the screen by centering your screen over the target without having to adjust the scope at all. So this is what makes it more challenging, because lots of times you're in the middle of battle, you're not going to have all the time to, oh my gosh, let me center perfectly, and then let me make sure I'm okay, and then I'm going to pull the trigger and zoom in and pull the trigger. No, that doesn't happen. You don't really have that time and that luxury to lots of times when you're engaging targets. Now, what this is, this is like when you get close enough and you know for a fact that you're going to hit the target without any sort of adjustments. And let's say the T-zone runs between here, here, and then your loose head's right there, okay? What you're going to do is, let's say, oh my gosh, there's a guy right there. That's the right shoulder. That's the head. That's the chest. That's right. So when you pop shot, your focus is on getting out the shot as quick as possible. So as soon as you can see the target in your scope, you're firing. You're not going to spend time adjusting. You're not going to spend time doing all this stuff and trying to center over the target. You know for a fact when you ADS all the way that you're going to hit on the target each time, because your scope, even though it has a little bit of sway, it's still going to hit over the target of their hitbox to get a hit, whether it be a kill shot or a 80 hit. That way you can take them down and swap to your pistol, which we're going to talk about next. So let me just show you what that looks like. So let's say you're running this way and fire over the target, fire over the target, fire over the target. Okay, I'm out of bullets. Oh, perfect.
We have taken objective
Alright guys, the next thing I want to talk about is swap shots. Now this is a very effective form of playing aggressive, and I'll tell you why. Because if you hit a target, and in this game, unlike Battlefield 4 where it was a one shot to the chest, with as long as the target didn't have what it was called defensive perk that negated that, but it was a one shot to the chest at between 0 and 12.5 meters with sniper rifles in Battlefield 4. In this game, that is not the case. No matter what, it is not 100% damage up close with any sniper rifle in the game, period, unless you hit the headshot. So in this game, if you hit in the T-zone, which is what's the easiest to hit when you're forced to be quick, is you only receive an 80 health hit. So it means you need to finish them off with a pistol or a melee weapon or a grenade or something like that up close. Now, what we're going to be talking about is what we call the swap shot. So what a swap shot looks like is like this. Let's say this is my target right here. Okay? So what we're going to do is fire, swap shot like that. So you basically fire one round of your sniper bullet, of your sniper, and then you switch over to your pistol. So what this allows you to do is be quick. Let's say you hit a target. Let's say this target's running over here, and you see him, and you swap. I do this every time I notice that I'm not getting that red hit marker that we discussed earlier, swap to the pistol. Now, if they're further away, you can typically take more than one shot with the sniper. But if they're close up, I would say close enough to kill you with their rifle, you definitely want to switch to your pistol and finish them off. Now, one of the things I would tell you is if they're moving side to side from you, I would not ADS your pistol unless you are very confident in your shot. What I would do would be hip fire. So let me just show you what that looks like. So I hit them like that. And sometimes you can spam multiple shots. Let's say it's one shot here. Typically with the Mars, you can get a couple shots off before the target actually hits you or kills you, and you can kill them. And so one of the things, like I said, it's a good practice to do would be to what's called swap shotting, especially if you're playing much more aggressive. And this is actually a little pro tip here. It's a great way to stop your drag scope. So let's say you're playing and you're dragging your target, your scope over your target because they're close range, and you're even zooming in off target. You can, in conjunction, drag scope, then shoot, then swap. And what the drag scope swap shot does is allows you to stop your shot more precisely because you're not going to continue to keep your thumb on the stick. So, for example, right there, it's a drag scope and then a swap stop. It's a great way to be more accurate when you're dragging over the target. Or a drag swap. It's a great way to do that. Perfect. Alright guys, so a slide shot, what that kind of looks like is this. If we're going to go ahead and slide and we want to hit this target right there. Let's say the target's over there and you want to slide, turn, hit the target. Like that. Perfect slide. There's even a drag scope in conjunction.
A sentry kit is available near your location.
Be quick, stealthy, and agile while being hard to hit with your target.
A sentry kit is available near your location.
A little glitch there. Awesome. Little slide shot, and that's what I would do. Just keep practicing back and forth. You can even do it at different angles. Come at them like this. More.
I'm wounded! Medic!
Medic! Just kidding. Now the last thing, guys, would be NoScopes. Now these are much better for up close engagements. NoScopes are more of a desperate move to kill a target that's close enough in your hitbox. I would say within 5 to 10 meters, you can go for a no-scope. Not always effective. Obviously, let me just show you the spread. Actually, wasn't bad. Hold on. Spread actually isn't that bad. Spread's not too bad. So up close, no scopes, not that bad. Out here, we hit here, 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 here. Almost looks like a smiley face. Smiley face. Alright, last thing, guys, is long shots. Now, I can't give you all the details on long shots because it's going to come down to playtime, feel, and using the rifle of choice. My personal favorite is the Gewehr 98. The reason I like the Gewehr 98 is the fast bullet velocity. So it has a great shot for long distance. It's all going to come down to feel. Now, I could show you some footage of some longer shots, but once again, getting long shots right is going to come down to you practicing and playing based off your target. Now, I'm going to give you, based off my experience, if you're going to use the Gewehr 98, whether it be the marksman or the sniper, when you're out to only time you're going to aim above the target target's head is going to be... Hold on, who the fuck? All right, here we go. All right, so only time you're going to be able to aim... so when you're using the Gewehr 98, let me go back to it. When you're using the Gewehr 98, the one thing is, for example, I'll give you the stats on this one thing. When you're 150 meters or in, 150 meters in, you're going to only aim at the head. Outside of 150 meters, you need to start aiming just above the head, barely enough. So, for example, let's shoot this barn door back here. And I want to hit just... Actually, let's hit the branch. I want to hit this branch right here. I'm just showing them. We're probably about... This is about 100 meters away. Hitting the bolt. I'm hitting the bolt perfectly on the branch because it's stopping. Okay.
Two of our soldiers remain.
Over here! Enemy, take him!
20 of our soldiers remain.